I like the lighting.
So this place was built in 1829, and it was built as the Grand Hanging Lodge. So what they did was built it with one door in and one door out, for the priest to go up in and do a procession, and then you were hung on the rooftop in the middle, hung publicly that way. So when you were sat outside there, thousands of people would have crowded and then watched the hanging. So these 17 people in total were hung in here. Still got the original doors on. You can see here, this was that gateway at the back, so where they used to bring goods in and out. This was the newspaper article where they used to have a black flag and the gallows went on the roof. The prison, this is that gateway where you were just now outside. You can see here, this used to be the bell tower in the middle of the prison, so they used to ring a bell for every execution. And then this was the male penitentiary and female penitentiary, but the condemned cells were in this wing. Those two have been knocked down now, but this one still exists with the bell tower on. Yeah. So we'll go upstairs then. So in terms of paranormal stuff, this is quite an active building.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
The Gatehouse?
we get lots. So this is the cell. You see these big metal door frames?
Yeah.
All the prison cells inside the prison have got that metal door frame. And there's an original door.
My great Scott, look at that.
1829.
That is. So that's an 1829 door?
1829 door. So where you're stood now was called the last right cell. So those 17 that hung here would have been in this room. They'd have had their last meal. They'd have been given the Holy Sacrament by the priest before they went through what was a narrow set of stairs up there onto the roof before they hung, before they went to heaven right here. So there we go. That's it. There's your peephole.
1829.
Yeah. So this was the Grand Hanging Lodge at that point. So we're above that entrance now. So this was the main entrance in and out of the prison up until 1982. Now all executions in this building were public. And then they were hung on the rooftop, public would gather out there, and then they'd all trade and cheer and watch people struggle around on the roof until they died. Now in 1868 that all changed when a guy called...
Is that the same rope or it's been changed?
No, it's exactly like they used, but it's a modern rope.
I was going to ask, is that the original rope?
Yeah, it's a copy of it. So Gloucester used 6 rings and 2-inch hemp with a slight wax. So in 1868 a guy called Lewis Jeff got hung here, and it was horrible hanging on the rooftop. And the public were disgraced actually by what they saw. So if you think from 1829 to 1868, that's quite a generation leap. When people started going off hanging, it was seen as quite horrid. So when he hung on this rooftop, the people out there rioted because they wanted it stopped. So the prison service decided at that point to not do hangings anymore. So they took the gallows from the top of this building and put it inside the prison. So the last hanging here, Lewis Jeff, changed the way hangings were done in the whole UK. Because it was so bad and horrific, they stopped doing public hangings and did non-public executions inside the prison. However, they did hang one guy, or they tried to hang one guy through the middle of this room. They put a hatch in there, the hatch is under that floor, and the gallows rope, the gallows beam is above the ceiling. They've preserved it because it's heritage protected.
So is that the original drop then?
So that was the original drop. So they hung him through this building, a guy called Edward Hewitt, and unfortunately, because before they hung people, they put the rope around your neck and they let you hang until you're dead, which was about 35 minutes roughly. Because they didn't have the public watching, they thought, well, we don't need to hang you slowly, let's try and kill you quick. So they dropped him through a hatch. They didn't allow for the stretch in the rope. So he hit the floor, broke his legs, and took about an hour to die. Because they don't hang him twice. So he basically bled to death. So we put this rope and hatch over the top to honour that one guy. Do you think they've been hanging people the same for 900 years? And then that one guy, Edward, was a completely different method and it went really wrong. So they did change how they hung. The rope after that hanging changed.
Is there any place in the UK where they still hang people?
No, 1968 was the last one. The last one here was 1939. So not that long ago.
For the whole country.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So they got rid of capital punishment then. That was the end of that. So they decided it was bad news. But from this one, 1828. So in 1868, before that they hanged for all sorts, like highway robbery, stealing sheep, stealing horses, all that sort of stuff. But after that, they said, well, actually, perhaps we should just hang for murder or treason and sort of, the more horrific crimes. So they only hung those people from that point on for murder. So yeah.
Well,
A little click behind me.
There you go.
clip.
Yeah, that was a little click behind me.
Yeah, so it's quite an interesting building in the fact it was a procession building. So you go up one way and out the other, and that was the condemned cell, and obviously those hung here. So that was the whole purpose of the place, was for execution. So that's why it's quite active, really. But when it's pitch black in here at night, it's quite eerie, I can tell you.
Oh, bloody hell, I almost fell down the stairs there.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, sorry I can't take you in the main prison.
That's fine, at least I can do a little bit here anyway.
So this was also a holding cell. And this is one of the areas where quite a lot of...
Oh, it smells horrible.
Well, there's tunnels underneath the prison all the way to the cathedral.
Yeah.
That smells horrible in there, it smells like death.
It smells like death. Have you ever smelled that?
Yeah, what's death smell like?
I was just about asking that question.
And we're back here.
Yeah, well, that's it. So that's the front they would have took before they went out the doors. Wow. So it's obviously one of